Good morning, YouTube. This is Skopje, North Macedonia, country number 33 for us on our quest to join the 100 Country Club. My name is Frank, this is Alyssa, and we are the GlobeHoppers. Today our plan is to explore 24 hours in Skopje. This city has quite a bit of character, I guess you could say. So we're going to take you on a little tour this morning, and then this evening we're going to head just a little bit outside of town to their little resort area they have with the lake, where everybody's telling us we can't miss it, we can't miss it. So we'll do that later, but first we're going to take you through town. This city is bizarre. It is, the best way to describe it is, in the 60s there was a giant earthquake, destroyed most of the city, so then they decided to rebuild. From what I could tell, it's kind of like they had 3 different city planners all come up with a different idea, and then since they couldn't decide which one, they must have just did all 3, because you've got an old town bazaar located above a college next to a tourist area right in the middle of the business district. I mean, nothing really seems to make any sense here. Alright, so let me tell you a little story about this city from what I can tell. It's very kitschy is what they call it. It just doesn't make any sense. From what the locals call it, they say it's the Disneyland of Europe, because it's just a bunch of little quirky things that make no sense. It is fun for a tourist, I guess. Come here, have a few laughs, look around. It's not the cleanest city. There's a lot of graffiti, there's some garbage, and a lot of people begging. But the weather is perfect, and we're gonna go explore some more. You can see behind me there's these old pirate ship looking vessels. Now they've been converted to hotels, I guess like Airbnb type of hotels. And we see about 3 or 4 of them lining the water here. They don't look too inviting, but we saw some guys sitting up on the deck on one with their laptops, so I guess people are staying in them. So the last ship that we passed, like I said, had people living in it. This one here, as you can see, it's full of bugs and it's abandoned. The windows are all broken. Horrible. It's about noon right now, and we're walking along the river, and there's this pretty nice little jogging biking path here that you can walk along, although there's not too many people out. We've seen a few people exercising, but not too many. Doesn't look like it's kept up very well. I guess they were too busy spending all their money on statues. You can see them, look, everywhere you look. On rooftops, there's lions everywhere. There's statues of people who have no names, nobody knows who most of them are, all over the bridges, all over the town. You can find these statues inside, right outside of Burger King. They're, in the old town, they're everywhere.
Diving into the river?
We just saw one of a lady diving into a river and the 2 feet sticking out of the river. So, let me explain that to you. The government wanted to spruce things up a bit, so they commissioned a project for $80 million to put 285 statues around the city, randomly. Now, the people voted on it, and 85% of the population voted it down. Nope, don't do it. But the government went ahead and did it anyway. So as you walk around town now, you can see these statues are just laid out everywhere. No rhyme or reason. Most of them you don't even know who they are, what they are. We've seen some, we ask people, do you know what this is? And they're just like, it could be Alexander the Great, we don't know. The people here hate it. Hate it. It was a gigantic waste of money to them. They're still paying it off. Apparently the project ended up costing close to $700 million by the time it was done, and the government's going to be paying back the international banks for a long time on loans that they took. So as epic a failure as it is for tourists, you can walk around and check them out. They don't have a map. They're just random. You just go, and no explanations to what each one is. A few have explanations, like in the main square you can see Alexander the Great on his horse, and then there's another one of Alexander the Great perched in the middle there where they do a light show at night. The only other one we could find a definition for was the Monument to Beggars, which we'll put a picture of here. Yeah, it was just an epic fail, I guess, and the citizens hate it. So we'll take a few pictures of them for you as you walk around. I mean, it's silly. They're in front of Burger Kings, they're in the bus station, they're just randomly everywhere. Silly, silly, silly. The further south we've gotten in the Balkans, we've noticed that there's been a lot more stray dogs as we've come along. When we got to Peja, the guy was explaining to us that over the last few years, the population of stray dogs has just, exploded. They're friendly, they look healthy. We saw some that were tagged. I guess the government got a hold of a few and tagged them. And now that we're here in Skopje, we're seeing a bunch too at night. Not as many during the day. They must be off hiding in the shade. It's pretty hot out, but yeah, we've seen a bunch of them here too. Again, they're friendly. They look pretty healthy. All right, so Skopje's city center is basically a walking town. A lot of places the cars are blocked off, so it's real pedestrian friendly. And I guess it's about a mile and a half, in each direction, so you can get around pretty quick. Here comes a pupper. Down one way on this main strip is where Sister Mother Teresa's baptism house was, because she was born here in Macedonia. And as you come up over the stone bridge, we end up here in the bazaar. So we're gonna take you guys now on a walk through the bazaar, and then maybe get something to drink while we're here. How's that sound?
Sounds good.
The very unpopular president of Turkey goes around and invests in poorer countries. So you can definitely see the influence of Turkey here. As a matter of fact, they even have the ice cream shows that we showed you guys while we were in Istanbul. You can check that video out. We'll put a link down below. But yeah, they've got the ice cream shows, they've got the hookahs, they've got all the influence of Turkey here. And the people aren't too happy. They don't like him either. Just like they didn't like him in Tirana. I guess he's a bad influence around the world. However, I will add to that. We do love the Turkish influence, because between the ice cream, the foods, the hookahs, all of that, we had such a great time in Istanbul and Turkey. Seeing it here to us is like just reminding us of what we left. So we'll be back, Turkey, no matter who's in charge. So it's about 11 a.m. right now, and the bazaar is just starting to open, so a lot of the vendors aren't out yet. We'll definitely be back this afternoon to show you when it's more crowded, but we're gonna still walk through it now while there is no crowd and enjoy it to ourselves. Quick note, we paid $80 for 2 nights at our hotel, and that probably wasn't the cheapest. We decided, since it's our last stop on our Balkan adventure, we wanted to stay at a Western hotel. So we checked into the Best Western and have just been enjoying some of our, Western. We wanted to be spoiled a little with high water pressure and kick-ass AC and Wi-Fi. But still not a bad price. 80 bucks for 2 nights is pretty good.
Yeah.
And it's dead center in the heart of everything. I mean, right across the street, we can look out our window and we can see the Mother Theresa monument. I'm
cool.
sorry I keep calling you Sister Mother. Oh, thank you. What is it? Meat?
No, vegan.
Oh my God. I have no idea what that is, but I'm gonna have to get one, because she's gonna have to try that. I was just filming to make it while she was using the bathroom, and he handed me a sample. Alright guys, so we were just walking past this restaurant. The guy said hello to us, so we decided to stop in and get some water. And she had to use the bathroom, of course. And so while she was in there, I was filming the guy preparing something. I had no idea what it was, but it looked cool the way he was preparing it. So as he was done, he saw me filming, so he said, "You want to try some?" I said, "Sure." So I grabbed a bite. He was cutting them up into like appetizer slices. I popped it in my mouth, and it was the most amazing taste ever. It was just flavor explosion. So she's getting a goddamn kick out of this, because it turned out to be a vegan plate. And
This guy doesn't eat vegan stuff at all.
but I will now. If all vegan tasted like that. It turned out it was like a rice dish. It was pureed rice,
Don't knock it.
and then he put tomatoes on it and some sauce. And when he explained it to me, he says there was 40 different spices he put in it. So that's where the flavor explosion came from. Oh, that was a delicious mistake right there. One thing we have noticed here in Macedonia is none of the signs are in English. Most of the menus aren't in English, but you know, most places you go, especially the tourist areas, they at least got something in English. But here, we can't even tell if we're in the right tourist attraction area or not. We're trying to get into this castle fortress thing here, but there are no signs. We've walked all the way around it and nothing. We're gonna hop the wall in a minute.
It's a steakhouse though.
Someone's up there.
We believe this is the entrance.
Alright guys, so we just found the gate up at the top of this hill. Just walked right through, no one stopped us. There was a guy there selling Coca-Cola and he didn't even look at us. So we're just gonna walk up here and see what's to see. If you look up there on that hilltop, there's a cross which they light up at night, and you could take a tour. It takes you halfway up the mountain, and then from, I don't know if you can see it, there's a flag there about halfway up, and then from there you take a cable car the rest of the way. Not a big cable car ride, just a short one to get up to the cross. We saw it last night while we were having dinner. It was all lit up, so we'll show you that later. But here we are, we're at the top of this fortress, and there's no one else here with us. We got a panoramic view of the city here. I'm wishing like hell I brought my drone up here. I don't know. You can see behind me there's a few like modern glass buildings up here. Like at one point it must have been a tourist attraction, but it's just all abandoned now. Maybe they wouldn't have had to spend 700 million on statues if they had just turned this into something nice. All right, we've been walking around the top of this wall for about 15 minutes now, and it's really not kept up well. That last perch I was just up in there was 2 dead birds. There's a lot of garbage laying around. Again, there was no entrance fee. We see no signs of like a museum or signs of anything that tells the history of this place. But I will say this, if you're gonna make the free walk up here, you can't beat the views. I mean, for free you get to see the whole city 360 degrees. It's pretty nice actually.
Yeah.
Come earlier in the day though, because it's getting hot. We have been so lucky on this trip. The travel gods are with us. I don't think we've seen rain once yet. 3 weeks, no rain. So we made it to the top and we're getting the view. This little camera thing here is busted. There's no lenses in it. You can't see through it. And the wood that we're standing on is quite precarious here. We might die if we both walk together. So I'm getting down carefully. And I think that is the end of our story of the fortress walls. I'm gonna put the camera away and walk down in peace, and we'll see you guys at the bottom. It's getting a little hot. Alright, so we've shown you guys the old stone bridge, the city square. We went through the old bazaar, we walked along the river, and we came up to the fortress. So far it's all been free. I mean, other than the drinks that we bought, but other than that, nobody's charged us for anything yet, which is pretty cool. Like I said, even the food here has been relatively cheap. Really throughout the Balkans, other than Dubrovnik, we've been pretty happy with the prices, and it's very affordable. So if you're on a budget, definitely worth coming here. You get everything you want: history, beaches, food, culture, great people. And that's another thing. I think the people overall have been pretty good to us. I mean, we got a bad vibe a little bit in Pasia, but that didn't last long. And other than that, everybody in the Baltics has been really nice. I mean, some people even come up to us and they ask us, hey, what are you guys doing here? Are you on vacation? Like, they're surprised to see us. Guy at the bus stop did that yesterday. He took us off guard a little bit. Like, why are you asking? And they were just happy to know where we were from and why we were here. I guess they're happy to see tourism coming back. The one guy was explaining to us that for the last 2 years, that I guess just like in Thailand, with no tourism, the locals have been going out and exploring their own backyard. So he mentioned that tourism didn't die off completely because all the people from these countries are just exploring their own countries right now, which is cool. All right, so now where are we off to? We're off to see the Macedonia Gate.
Hopefully there's a plaque and it kind of gives us a little bit more information. But it's the start of the square. It's like right there at the start of the square.
And then after that, we'll take you to see Mother Teresa's house where she was baptized. Right here on this spot is where Mother Teresa's house was originally, where she was born. Now it's just a big plaque, and that plaque is located right in front of the Macedonia archway right here. We're gonna head over there, take a peek at that, and then we'll go over and see where Mother Teresa was baptized. Here to the Mother Teresa Chapel, and at first we thought it was just closed up, out of business. It's, you know, it looks like it's chained off everywhere. There's nobody here. There's things over the window. But around the side here, there's a little gift shop, and the lady says, oh, climb those stairs and go upstairs. It's free of charge. So we're gonna go on up and take a peek. Ready?
Yeah, we would have ended up leaving. Didn't even see this sign here. It says free of charge.
Right? That's a shame. It really does look closed down from the outside. We were just about to walk away. I mean, look, even this is climbing the stairs and here's this door. Who would have thought? Nobody up here with me, so I'll do a little talking. There's a chapel on the upper floor, the third level, and this is set up. I guess they might do a service here, but as you go through the hallways outside, there's pictures of all kinds of famous people, like the Reagans were here, the Pope was here, Dalai Lama was here visiting the Mother Teresa in the 80s. So they got all those pictures out there. And on the second floor, there's some memorabilia. There's her old bed from her house, and a table that was in the other house that was brought over here. So it's kind of like a museum to her, and it's very quiet. On the second floor, there were a couple offices with two ladies in them. They didn't come out, so I guess they're not looking to give info or nothing. It's just come in. It's free to get in. And it's pretty moving. Definitely real quiet in there. It's not too big. There was just 2 layers, and like I said, the bottom one was just mostly artifacts and stuff they brought over, and then the top was a chapel. Definitely worth a stop though if you're here. Like she said, it's free to get in, and if it looks closed, don't give up. It is open, believe it or not. Let's head on down. Getting a little sunned out. It's getting pretty hot out here. I think we're gonna grab some street food here, and we're gonna head back to our room, hide out in the AC for a little while, and then we're gonna finish off our adventure down by the lake today. And don't worry, we'll take you with us. All right, guys, so we had a costume change and a change of plans. Turns out that all of a sudden there is a thunderstorm rolling in, 80% chance of thunderstorms for the next 3 hours. So we figured heading to a lake probably wasn't the best idea right now, especially because it's $10 each way, and they drop you off 1 kilometer from the lake. You have to walk because it's Friday night, and it's too busy for taxis to get into that little tourist area. So instead, we're gonna take you out and try to find some traditional food that Alyssa's been dying to try before we leave town. So let's go see if we can't stuff our bellies again.
As always.
Turns out that traditional food is not real easy to find in the tourist area here. So they've all been recommending we get out of the tourist area if we want to find those traditional dishes. So instead, we just made best of what we could do. We'll show you what we got.
We did get some traditional beans that they highly recommended out at the front, so I'm hoping those are good.
All right, I gotta do a 3-second review. The penne is awesome. It's got olives and peppers in it, so that's pretty nice.
Different.
But we're gonna get a copyright strike from all this music. Okay, before the music starts back up, hers is a bean and sausage traditional dish, and I just went with some pork skewers and french fries. But this is the star of the show. This pasta has olives and peppers in it, and it is absolutely delicious.
It is good. I'd say 8 out of 10. I tried a bite of that, and that is very good, but it's way too hot right now to enjoy the flavor, so I'll let you know in a minute.
And they said they had breaded olives, something I've never heard of before. We wanted to try it, but they ran out of them. So if anybody knows where I can get those, put a comment below, because I gotta try breaded olives. So the music was a little too loud to really review the food in there, but we got 3 dishes and 3 drinks, and it came to $19 and change, which is pretty good again for Europe around here in the tourist center. Can't go wrong with pork on a stick. I mean, you know that. And the penne with the olives in it and the peppers, oh, that was just, I love that. That was great. Her dish was beans and sausage, and she didn't like the sausage, and I didn't like the beans, so that dish was a wash. But at least it was traditional. We tried it, and now we're gonna go try to find some dessert. Traditional or not, we're gonna find some dessert. We were going to take you guys on a walk through the bazaar tonight, but we're not sure if the rain's going to hold out or if it's going to be a wash. So just in case we're not, we want to thank you guys for joining us, not only in this video, but on this trip through the Balkans. We've had an amazing road trip. We're going to wrap it up and head to our next destination. We'll fill you in on that one tomorrow or the next day. In the meantime, if you enjoyed these videos, please subscribe, hit that like button, and please leave us a comment. We'd love to hear from you guys. See ya.